All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Faith and Family Filmmakers Association networking meetup.
Let's take a look at a couple of scripture verses to get started. First, from John 13. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you have love one for another. And in Romans 12, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good, be devoted to one another in love, honor one another above yourselves, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer, share with the Lord's people who are in need, practice hospitality. So, we can apply that to every part of our lives, but as we look at filmmaking, that's what we have in common here today. We know this is a collaborative effort. None of us can do everything that brings a film to the market. We have a small part that we play. Some have several parts that they play, but I just want to discuss for a moment the concept that it is not just the final product that we need to honor God with. Hopefully, that's our goal, whether it's a faith-focused film or it's just a great story that's not specifically about faith. We certainly want it to be God-honoring. But I believe that we want to be honoring God in every aspect of our filmmaking as well. And that includes honoring the people that we work with, honoring the people we work for, honoring the people that we collaborate with, all through the process, whether you're in pre-production or in the production phase, on set. We want to honor people and honor God in that way, not just aim to be completing a product that honors God. We want to be sincere, love good, hate evil. I'll stop there for a second as well. Hating evil does not mean, in my opinion, never portraying evil in our films. The quote is something like, for evil to succeed, all is required is for good men to do nothing. We don't want to ignore evil or even things that we might portray in our films that are not God-honoring, but our goal is to be God-honoring. And some of the critics of faith films in the past, and rightfully so, have been that we whitewash things, perhaps sugarcoat things, and we don't want to be portraying perfect Christians or perfect people or sugarcoating life. We want to be real, but our goal is to not to glorify evil, but for our products to glorify good and to glorify God. We need to be devoted to esteem others higher than yourself, keep spiritual fervor, joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer, share with those in need, and practice hospitality. So again, I believe in all aspects of our work because it applies to all aspects of our life. And regardless of where you are in that filmmaking journey, in the process, we want to honor one another and in that way honor God. And I'm going to take a moment right here for us to pray. Lord, we thank you for your word. We thank you for your guidance in our lives, for the goals that you've placed in our hearts, the dreams, the purpose that you've given each of us and your calling. I pray, Lord, that you would help us to take from your word the things that you're speaking to our hearts. Help us to remember, Lord, that our goal in life, which includes our art, is to honor you and to glorify you in every aspect every day. Help us to do that, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, guys.
Jacqueline.
So as you go into your breakout rooms, which I'm going to send you to in just a moment here, you're going to have about 12 minutes where you're going to be able to share who you are and get to know who the other people are in the room. So you're going to keep your introduction short, 1 to 2 minutes tops. You could probably get it in 1 minute. And this is the script basically that I would love for you to follow. This is a great opportunity also because when you have a need or you're working on a project, when you're just like networking, sometimes it's hard to work that into the conversation. So we're actually just putting that out there that we would love for you to just share it. And when you're listening to other people sharing their projects and their needs, if there's anything that you're thinking, I might have a resource for them, or I could connect them with someone who might have a resource for them. That's a big part of what we're here for, because I think that the more that we put it out there, this is what I'm doing, this is what I need. I'm not asking anyone specifically, but I am putting it out there. And it's going to create an opportunity for then God can speak to someone to do something about that. And so it's just one of the ways of that we can really support each other. So I would encourage you to be listening really well as people are sharing, and then go ahead and just have a great conversation. All right. So part of what we want to do is to not only meet each other for this networking, we actually also want to bring forward resources that we think would be a really great opportunity for people in our community. And so last networking call, we were talking with George Escobar about 3 Days Studios. Before that, we were talking about these networking meetings that we started. And this week, we're going to talk with Jarod O'Flaherty. He's going to share about Actor Bay, which, if you don't already know about it, you're going to hear about a really amazing opportunity and resource that I think is going to become a commonly used tool that we'll all appreciate. So, Jarod, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, thanks so much, Jacqueline, for having me on. I know some of you have heard about this before, so thank you for coming back to hear it again. Others, this will be new, so I'll try to cram it all down into 12 minutes this morning. I left out some important details. If I do run out of time and anybody wants to hang around afterwards to talk about it, ask questions, whatnot, I will be available for that for a little while. So yeah, I work as a filmmaker on a series called Vindication. Most recently, for the last 5 years, it's been my full-time occupation working on this series. We have done 4 seasons. The 4th will start premiering a week from today, so an exciting time for us. At the same time, I'm in pre-production, heavy pre-production for the next chapter in this series that we'll be shooting at the end of the month and into April. Doing casting for it right now. I want to say we had about 1,500 submissions for roles on this upcoming project. So it's a lot to go through and find the right people for our cast. Now, she mentioned Actor Bay. What is that? What's that about? Prior to getting into filmmaking, I have an IT background. I worked in the corporate world as a network systems engineer for about 15 years. And then from that, I left the corporate world and did the entrepreneur route, where I developed software for a couple different companies. One was in the medical field, one was for roofing, another was for commodities trading. And so I have some experience doing that. And in my years of filmmaking and going through the casting process, which is a lot of times my favorite thing, it's like you're drafting your team in a sport. You're picking who's going to go to battle with me here and bring this story to life. I just love that part of the process. It's not a headache. It's like the fun part, especially when those words on the paper are coming alive for the very first time. And that is when these actors are bringing the characters to life in the auditions. So anyway, I love that part of the process, but there were definitely some inefficiencies that I experienced with the predominant platforms that are out there. And as I'm using them, I kept thinking to myself, man, this could be done better. For one, I think the actors are treated horribly on the platforms. They never get any feedback. They are, it's like you're a commodity being traded. And I know, because I sit on this side, I would have, for our first couple casting calls, 1,000+ submissions, and we'd have 300-400 tapes, and I'm like, there's no time to tell these people how they did or to respond to them or anything. So I just felt bad, and I wanted to message them all, thank you so much for auditioning for, but there's just no time to do that. And I get to the end of the process and realize these actors, they did all this work, memorized the scenes, sent it to me, taped it, and they never heard anything back because I have to cast and keep moving. So that was an inefficiency. I also saw many others on the casting side that when I'm looking at a deck of 300 people, it's really hard to decide which ones should I send out a tape request to. For one, I don't want to send it to all 300 because that is miserable to watch, read through. But then I would also see people and go, oh, this headshot looks just like the character. And I'd get the tape back and within 5 seconds realize this person's not ready for the role that we needed them for. And I'm feeling terrible because they just memorized 3-4 pages and recorded it and all that. And within 5 seconds, I knew this wasn't the right person. So that's just a high level of some of the inefficiencies. There was a lot more throughout the process. So anyway, you put 2 and 2 together. I decided to create a platform that we just launched kind of in the early development stages a couple weeks ago, called Actor Bay. Right now it has free accounts for any actor to sign up and submit. That's how we did the casting for Vindication. Had great results. I think we'll be able to book 90% of our cast from those submissions and from the tapes, which I'm still going through at the moment for any of you that submitted. So no decisions have been made, but on Actor Bay, you will actually hear back of what happened, if you were dismissed or what phase you moved on to, whatnot. So anyway, so that's what I'm using and going forward. I didn't share this morning. I actually just in the past week have had an investor step forward and say, I believe in this. I believe in what it's doing. So I'm going to provide the resources to make sure this thing goes to the next level. So it's not going to be something that just pops up and then fades away. No, instead it's having gasoline poured on it and say, let's really hit the market hard with this new product, which has me excited. The platforms that are out there, which I typically don't name, but we all know who they are. For one, they are controlled as far as how they run by the studios, by some of the agents, and by a select few, some unions, right, who basically control how they want the industry to run and how they want actors to be handled and how they want casting to go and all that sort of stuff. So they have total control over it, and I see that on my casting side. I'm sure the actors see it as well. You also get nickel and dime to death the whole way, at least with one of them I know of, oh, you want a minute of video, you want this, you want that, and all those sort of things. So anyway, I like the idea of someone who's a believer, who's a follower of Jesus, that's going to put a platform out there that takes everyone's needs into consideration, not just those that have been in control. And that's kind of how I like to operate. Anybody who's been on Vindication with me or interacted outside, I hope, realizes like, hey, Jarod, he may have a lot of flaws, he may not be good at a lot of things, but at least he treats people well and cares about the feelings of others. If that's what anybody says about me when I'm gone, I'll be happy with that. That's what I try to do. And so that's the same approach I want to take to Actor Bay, not, hey, how can I nickel and dime actors and make, profit or whatnot. So anyway, that's what's going on. Now, some of the features, Jacqueline, how much time do I have left?
You got about 5 minutes.
Okay. All right, cool.
Doing great.
Two of the greatest features, things that I'm most excited about on Actor Bay. One is called Self-Tape Now. It is not launched yet. It is still getting ready to launch. What it is an opportunity for an actor for you to go on, look through a directory of sides, a maximum of 3 pages, pick one that you like, and record a tape for it. But this tape isn't for an actual role. It's to upload to the platform so that people can see your work, see your performance, and it's going to be placed side by side with other actors on the platform who have performed the same role. So other members then can come in and you'll be told, if you're a member, hey, there's some sides that want to be graded, or excuse me, some audition tapes. And if you accept it, you'll have 2 tapes presented to you, 2 people performing the same scene. You're not looking at 40 of them like Jarod has to do. You're just looking at 2, and you're asked a simple question: which of these 2 people would you cast in the role? And what that will do is create metrics then for the casting people. Who on there wins a lot of those one-to-one battles? And people who rise to the top, it's going to show casting, hey, here is someone who has proven in the past through these Self-Tape Now sides that they can make stuff happen, that they're strong in those roles. For others who perhaps don't win as many, or they start falling lower down, it gives them the opportunity to see others, to see people who are succeeding in these tapes and saying, what are they doing differently? How can I grow? What do I need to change? And so that hopefully they start rising. Now I mentioned the metrics and the scores. Everyone on Actor Bay will have a number assigned to them. A number, I'll say a grade, a score. I call it the AB score. It's got an algorithm with like 50 different characteristics that it takes into account and gives a score for someone. And then we also have a leaderboard. So you'll be able to go on and say, okay, in the state of Alabama, which actor has the highest score based on their performance on Actor Bay, through sides, through other things. So Brad just waved. I think he's already claiming that spot. Who is the second best in Alabama that that can do that? And it goes through all states, genders, age demographics, all those sort of things. So here I am in casting. I need a teenager to play a role that we're shooting in 2 weeks. I can jump on and say, who are the top 5 teenagers in my state based on their scores on Actor Bay, and send them a taping request right then and there. Again, for the others that are falling lower down, I feel like them being able to watch quality, successful tapes will help them grow, probably as much as anything other than an acting class, right? So it gives them that opportunity to see it and to grow. So you've got the self-tape now, you've got the A/B score. Now we've got breakdowns that are out there for real roles. It's how we cast Vindication. I just posted, or I didn't post, someone just posted a new breakdown about 30 minutes ago. I've had close to 40 new actors sign up and create profiles on the platform just since that one posted. So things are happening. It's growing. Obviously, with the investment I talk about, this isn't going to be something that just flakes out and disappears. So if you're an actor, you're not on there, I would say go in, create a profile, get all your information in there, and just have a good starting point for as we continue to roll out features. I know there are other things, Jacqueline, I missed, but I'll be around later if you guys want to talk about it. But I would just say Vindication that I've worked on, I think it's been somewhat successful as a series. We've been able to do 4 seasons. We just got on some big platforms, have picked it up. So it's kind of growing instead of going away. And anything that I took from a leadership standpoint, from ethics, from any of those things about me, I'm definitely pouring into Actor Bay and what we're doing with that. If you ask my family right now, I'm in pre-production of Vindication. If you brought my 5 kids and wife in and say, hey, what is dad talking about the most and working on the most? They would say Actor Bay. So, so that's how I feel about it. And I think it could be a great thing. And I just want to see people thrive and have opportunities open up for them in this platform instead of being put into a system that works really well for the casting people, for the agents, and a few others while stifling opportunity. Jacqueline said I have 1 minute. I probably have 30 seconds. I can tell you this. When we cast some of the bigger roles that have had 300 to 400 submissions, there are probably 200 people that submit that I never get to look at their resume. I see their headshot and their name, and that's not enough information for me to even look at. And I've always wondered what superstars are in that 200 or so that I never even had a chance to look at or to see on tape. And Actor Bay is going to give them that opportunity to shine and to rise to the top.
I love that. So good. Yeah. And if you guys have questions, when we're finished this hour, you're welcome to stick around for a bit and ask those questions. Okay. So just a few announcements. I wanted to let you know. Oh, Jeff, can you mute yourself, please?
Yes.
It's the only time I get to tell him that. But anyways, so I want to tell you, if you make short films or if you know anyone that does, we are hosting a workshop next week with Faithia. Faithia is an app that we've started to partner with, and they've got a lot of resources, not only on their app, but actually even just the analytics for what it is that actually makes money, what holds an audience, what people will pay for. So, we'll get into some really deep discussions and we're really going to geek out on how to monetize short films. So if that is something that is of interest to you or someone that you know, please sign up.
I just put a link in the chat.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's on Tuesday, and we will be recording it. So if you're like, I can't make that date, but I really want to be there, you can go ahead and register anyways, and we will give you access to the recording. All right, and next week, I know I didn't change the date for this slide, but next week is a mastermind. And at the masterminds, this is more about diving deep into becoming the person that you need to be in order to do the thing that you want to do. Because as a writer, sure, I can say that, yeah, my job is to write a good story. But to be a writer in the industry, my job is much more than that, because I have to learn how to pitch. I have to learn how to communicate well. I have to learn how to be disciplined, because if I don't discipline myself and do the rewrites that are necessary, I'm not going to get as far with my intentions and meeting my goals and stuff. So pursuing excellence requires a lot of other skills, even time management, right? So that was, yeah, we'll get into it at the mastermind, but during the masterminds, that's where we really dive into more of that personal level. And if there's anyone here that has been to a mastermind, can you just type in the chat, how it went for you? We've only had one so far, because last time I was at NRB and the internet was not good enough for us to be able to host it. So we're doing that one next week. Okay. And then also, we've mentioned that, if you go and tell people about our meetings and invite people and stuff, it really helps us. But actually, we can benefit you as well. So we have an affiliate program, which will apply to the meetings and the memberships. And that will actually apply for a year. So if you take your affiliate link and you invite people and they come, even if they come for free the first time, it triggers that affiliate. And then for the year that follows, whatever they spend on meetings or memberships, you'll make 20% commission on that. And so that's a way that we can work together where it would help us to have you guys invite people so that we don't have to spend so much of our time on marketing, because I'm also I am a professional writer, and so I'm doing a lot of feedback and writing assignments and stuff like that. So the marketing is one of those things where we drop the ball on quite regularly, and so it would mean a lot if you guys would join that. Oh,
Jacqueline, can you go back
yeah.
to the last screen for a second?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, that's not the affiliate link. That is where people can see and sign up for all the different meetings.
Oh, the affiliate link is this thing here.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah. So do you want to maybe grab the affiliate link, or I can do that in a minute? I'll grab it in a minute and I'll put it in the chat when I'm done here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And then here's just some stuff about, like, this is our purpose. This is what we're doing. It's behind everything that we're doing, because we really believe that, I think George says this a lot, and he's quoting someone else that said that media is the new Paul. This is where we're going to be able to get out there and connect with people who wouldn't necessarily step foot in a church, or we wouldn't even be able to necessarily have a conversation with them, maybe because we would never actually meet them in person. Whatever the case is, our media can get out and reach more people than we ever could as individuals. And so here at FAFF Association, we want to support the people and the resources that are going to equip all of us to get out there and spread the gospel. All right. And if you are a screenwriter and you would like to experience real town Mexico, and when I say real town, I mean this is not a resort. You'll become visiting us in our very small town here in Mexico. We'll have an adventure. You'll write first draft of your screenplay. I will help you through all of that with workshops and writing times and stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, it's on our website, and you're welcome to contact me for more information.
I just stuck the link in the comments as well.
Okay, perfect. So stick around. We're going to do a closing prayer, and then we're going to start some Q&A with Jarod about Actor Bay.
All right. Well, I'll do that. So glad that you have all been with us tonight, and so glad to spend time with some of you that we know, and to meet some new people. And I sure hope we get to see you all again. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you tonight for your part in guiding us, for your word that teaches us, and for the people, Lord, that we've surrounded ourselves with. I pray that you would continually give us wisdom each day in every part of our lives, and specifically, Lord, in our careers and in our creativity, in the area of arts, Lord, that we are involved in. Pray, God, that you would be the catalyst for everything in our lives, and that we would be reminded, Lord, to honor you and honor others in on every step of the way. And we give you the glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
So it is strongly frowned upon and will get you blacklisted really quick if you were to ever to share a audition that you were reading for an actual role, because it's someone's intellectual property, it's their film. So when you do a read for that, it's in confidentiality that only they can see it. So occasionally you'll see people on their social media, they'll post like, oh, hey, I did an audition today, but it's muted, or they got music playing and you can't hear what they're saying. And so I don't know about you guys in viewing those never do anything for me. It's a quick, like, get to something. Like, I'm sorry, I'm sure you did a great performance, but if I can't hear it, I don't know context, it's not that fun to watch. But on Actor Bay with the self-tape now that's the ones that aren't roles from producers, but they are in the directory. You can tape it, and then it will be permanently attached to your profile unless you choose to hide it, so that filmmakers, casting people, they can come and see that and watch it. You'll also be able to share it to your social media. So if you have one that you're bawling your eyes out, pouring your guts out, you're like, man, I nailed that audition. You can now actually go share that with people instead of it being a muted thing on your reels that gets annoying to have to see. So anyway, so it's a yes and no. You can for some, others you're still not going to be able to share those if you're auditioning for an actual role. The people that have submitted tapes for our vindication stuff, those tapes can't go out anywhere because it's, gives away storyline and such.
Great. Okay. Anybody else got a question? Go ahead and raise your hand.
Susan.
Okay.
I'm going to have a question. Hi, Jarod. So nice to kind of sort of meet you.
Yeah. We've done this many times, Susan. Does it
Oh,
count
my-
that we've met each other like after like 8 Zooms? Does that count?
I
y'all, since
know,
we've met?
I know.
All right.
But so I do have a question regarding breakdowns. Is there a way, and either maybe I'm missing it, but I check it like every day, twofold notifications when something new pops there versus have to like in email. But more importantly, is there a way when the breakdowns are there to sort them by like if I can weed out all the guys, weed out all the kids, and just look for my breakdown? Because that other competing platform does let you search for what fits you, what matches your breakdown. Is that possible?
Yes, I have an answer to both of those. One, the second part you said about it being filtered based on your demographics, your information, that's definitely coming. It's on the to-do list. I just had to roll out the platform to start casting for vindication so fast that was one of the things that got booted further down the list. Fortunately, right now, we don't have 200 breakdowns and 2,000 roles posted. So I figured it's not as hard to search. So, but that's definitely coming. It's high on the list because it obviously offers a great benefit to the actors that you're not seeing roles that just don't fit you. Yeah, it's a 6-year-old boy. You don't need to see that if that's not you. So definitely coming. I had to roll it out fast for vindication. So that's why it got booted. The second one is a more interesting question. It's about the notifications. Now, for Actor Bay to be financially sustainable, it's going to run some small ads in the future for free accounts. If anyone were to get a paid membership, then the ads go away. But in order to keep it financially stable with all these free accounts that are using storage space and bandwidth and all the things that right now I'm paying for out of pocket, we're going to have to run some ads. Well, with ads, you kind of want people checking the site once every day, every couple of days. So sending them the notification says, I don't have to go to Actor Bay until I get a notification. And so suddenly I'm now eating those costs. The short answer, what I plan to do is yes, there will be set up email notifications. Hey, there's new roles that have posted that match your demographic, but you're going to see those 2 or 3 days after they have posted, not immediately. That way, the people who are checking daily, the people who are coming in with those free accounts, they're going to get to see stuff ahead of time. But if you're snoozing, you don't have time for that, you will still get a notification. It just won't be instantaneous. So I feel like that's a happy medium for kind of what I described as my dilemma. We'll get you the notifications, but if you want to be front of the line, you want to get, then you'll be someone who's checking it more frequently. And I hope that it gives benefits, that it's more, you want to check it for more than just breakdowns, that there are other things going on that will entice people to be involved. So, yeah.
Awesome. Love the answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Who was next? Emily, I guess.
Hello.
Emily is well known to
question.
the vindication world. She is a super
Hello.
fan to the max. So good to see you.
Excited. Yes. Question. In regards to the notifications, will that come as an email? As of current, I have not received an email. I've just been checking the website as much as possible. Is that will that help us users as well?
Yeah, there are certain emails that are active right now. If you get a request to audition, then you get an email almost instantly saying, hey, you've got an audition request. So that goes instantly. And there will be other things, if production asks for your contact info or they're ready to book you, boom, you get an email instantly. So some of that is in place right now for those instant emails. There will be others, like I just described to Susan, that may have a little bit of delay, so that there's a benefit to the people who are engaged and on the platform more frequently. And it also does keep track of how active you are. So I mentioned earlier about the actor base score. It's a percentage. The key factor is how you do in those self tapes, and that's what really matters. But those who are more active, more involved, they're checking. To me, it shows an energy and an eagerness for the industry, for their profession, that is worthy of a little boost in their actor base score. So there is a benefit to that gets tracked. And on our leaderboard, it even shows things like most active, most engaged, most involved. So while maybe you're not there on the acting level yet, but by golly, your face is there because you're eager and you're in there checking for stuff and staying active. So I hope that answered what you were asking.
Yeah, and then my second part of that was, have you considered, obviously you had to roll it out fast, have you considered a app for the phone?
Absolutely. You're looking at a six-figure investment on the low end to get an app. So I'd kind of like to see it do well for a few months or a few breakdowns before investing that type of money in getting the app. So definitely on the horizon. If it gets to a point, and I'm pretty sure the apps that are for the existing platforms are junk. I've never even used them yet, and I've cast for 5 years. So like if we're gonna build an app, it's gonna be really, really good. But it can send you notifications and things of that nature, which having a website and email, adds a little more legwork to.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks so much. Good to see you.
All right, Tommy.
Hey there, a couple of questions about Actor Bay. It looks great. On the self-tape, now I may have missed this, so forgive me if I'm asking you to repeat something. But on the self-taping, is your system set up so that if there's an audition that comes through Actor Bay, the actor can upload a self-tape through Actor Bay? Is that right or not?
That is correct. So if it's a traditional breakdown, meaning I'm casting for a project, I accept submissions, I request a tape, the actors do then upload the tape through Actor Bay. I know a few of you on here have done that. So shake some nodding heads. Okay, I see a few heads of people that know, yes, that is how it works. So yeah, you're not having to send a Dropbox or a YouTube or whatever. You upload it right there on the platform.
But it's not recorded in Actor Bay, right?
It is not public
okay,
in Actor Bay.
You record it at home, upload it to Actor Bay. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yep.
A couple of other questions. I'm looking at your talent search, and everybody has a letter P. What does that stand for? And could you go into a little more depth about what this AB score is? I don't quite get that.
Yeah, great question. The AB score is kind of what I think is the secret sauce of Actor Bay, and there's an algorithm that takes 50 different parameters into account in giving an Actor Bay score to a talented an actor. Right now, people that have submitted for Vindication, they have submitted tapes. That is going to play into their Actor Bay score. We had some people that we sent a tape request to. They clicked that they accept the tape request, and then they never submitted anything for it. That doesn't help their Actor Bay score. We have other people that were submitted a tape request. Within 24 hours, they're sending a tape back. We watched it. We gave it a 5-star rating on our side of how well they did. That's going to help somebody's Actor Base score. Other things are taken into account, how active they are, what their fan base and collaborative, how many people on the platform are connected with them, there's all these different things, but many of those are minor. Many of those are a 3%, 2%, 5%. The self-tape now, which is where you go on, you record a tape, you upload it, and the members of the site get to basically give you feedback on it. That is the key parameter in the AB score. The reason everybody says P right now, that's for pending. It's because it is still gathering data. And so I don't want to run some numbers with very limited data because you'll have stuff that's skewed all over the place. Yeah. So everybody right now has a P score, even though it is continually collecting data. Now, obviously, there will be some people that maybe aren't the strongest actors who will have a really good score when it first starts. Hopefully, that's motivation to other people to say, well, I don't like my score being in the lower third. I'm going to hop on. How do I fix it? And it'll tell you right there, go record a tape, do this or that, and you now have the opportunity to boost it up. There's a competitive nature to it, but guess what? Auditioning and casting is all competitive. And so it just gets a little more public this way. And I think that motivates people, It's like when you're out running on a track trying to beat your own time, it's a lot different than when you got somebody running right next to you. It gives you a little bit more juice to keep going and know, hey, I want my score up or I want my number improved. So that's what the AB score is and why everybody's a P right now.
Great. One last question, if I can real hurry. Is there a place on Actor Bay to upload demo reels or clips if you have professional footage?
So all the profiles can link to a YouTube or Vimeo demo reel, and that's how we play it back. It makes it easier for the members of the site to play it back. It's also me not having to store everybody's reels
Sure.
when they have free accounts. So that's why we do it that way. But it's easy for everyone. And you know what? If your reel's on YouTube or Vimeo, it gives you hits, it gives you views. It can actually help move you up in those places as opposed to a Dropbox link or a Google Drive file.
And that's part of the profile. You'd set that up in your profile.
Yes, sir. Yeah. On
Okay.
your profile settings where you put in your location and your age group and all that,
Gotcha.
there's a field for your reel and for your IMDb.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
I like what you were saying with, like when people submit and you can give them, let's say there's that person with that 5-star and maybe they didn't get cast, but they got the 5-star. And so that helps them with their Actor Bay rating. And then it also could potentially put them higher up the next time that you're casting something, because you'll be like, oh yeah, I saw them. They were fantastic. They weren't right for that role, but they were great.
Absolutely. And in my portal, so when people start submitting for a role, it will be sorted by the highest AB score to the lowest. Right now on other platforms that shall not be named, a lot of those are how much money you have spent on their platform is the one that I see first when I log in. I could show you that. You get all the submissions and the people that have spent the most money, have the most complete profiles and video, they show up first. And then other people that are just a headshot and a name show up at the bottom. You almost never see them. So on this one, your AB score is what will show up first for casting when they look at your names. And I'm telling you, it sounds silly, but the first one that you see every time you click on that page as a casting person, it resonates with you a little bit of, well, okay, who's this person? So there's certainly an advantage to having a higher score.
All right, Jane.
Okay. I don't actually have a question about Actor Bay. I wanted to thank you for Vindication. I've watched one season of it and I enjoy it. And my husband, more importantly, enjoys it. And he's a very tough critic. So thank you for that. I appreciate your heart in just the way you're doing it and that it's different from everything else that is out there. And one thing about Actor Bay, I appreciate your heart in considering the actor's experience and considering their heart and everything. So as you say, I know it's a competitive business, but I appreciate you making it more gentle for them.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for watching. That's so cool about your husband watching as well. I've heard that. I've heard that feedback quite often from people saying like, my husband won't watch anything with me, but he'll watch Vindication. So, and if you're just one season in, I think you got some good stuff ahead. So hopefully get a few nods in the crowd from that one, right?
It gets better.
There you go. Thanks.
He means it gets even better.
I mean, it keeps even getting better.
Keep watching. It'll get better.
All right, Grace.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for fixing that.
All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, Jarod. Thank you so much for acting. Oh, he has my book. Oh, thank you. So, first and foremost, Actor Bay is incredible. Like, I think it was Jane that said it. I love the fact that the actor was considered in this because a lot of times that does not happen. Now, my question is in reference to what you talked about earlier this morning, the worked together feature. Now, is that solely for if you've been on set with these people, or if you've worked together with them, let's say in an acting capacity, maybe an online collaboration or something like that? Because I went on there today and I was like, oh, I can pick this person, that person, this person. And I'm like, then I was like, oh, but I wasn't on set with them, so maybe I can't do that.
I think the intention behind it is an on-set experience that you have met in person. But if both people on there agree, hey, we've worked together, and you send it and they accept it, then it's good for everybody. What you don't want to do is send one, it gets declined because that does not help anybody's score in that one. It doesn't hurt the person who declined it, but the person who sent it, it doesn't look good that someone said, wait, hold on, we haven't worked together yet. I'm not accepting this. And it also won't tell the person that you declined it. So it'll just always be outstanding that you haven't, worked together. So I would just say you don't want to try to game the system and everybody I know, because it could actually hurt you more than helping. I will also say I'm passionate that Actor Bay's scores are not a popularity contest, and it's not like IMDb scores that are based solely on how many hits your profile is getting. So while it is certainly taken into account, it is not going to, oh yeah, I'm at the top because I have a big network of connections. Yeah, it's not gonna work that way. So
Right.
but it definitely helps though to get some intermingling of who knows each other, who has worked with a lot of people, just so that part of that 1 out of the 50 algorithmic factors has some data to look at. So hope that answers. I would say stick to people you've worked on a set with.
Okay.
But if you've done something that's online that was very much a part of the creative, it created a product, then I certainly think that would count too.
Okay, awesome. And then my second question is in reference to the self-tape now, the sides. Now, these are like sample type auditions that you're doing. Is that correct?
Yes. So I've had a group of about 40 writers who have been submitting sides, a maximum of 3 pages, all different roles, from children to senior adults, all that sort of thing, sides from original works. It can't be something that has already been produced. And the reason I wanted that is I want our actors creating these characters, not mimicking something else they've seen. In a lot of acting classes, not to knock on them, but you're doing scenes out of famous movies, and and there's already been someone who has performed this and usually done it well. I want it where on the self-tape now, you're all having the opportunity to create this character. You may go funny with it, you may go deathly serious, whatever it may be. And then the crowd in general gets to decide which route they took. Because when you're auditioning for real roles, you have to make those same decisions of what direction do I want to go with this based on just a piece of paper. So our 40 writers have submitted. Jacqueline's one of them. She put quite a few in. So when that feature goes live, you'll be able to sort through them. You'll see who the writer was. So if you're like, oh my goodness, here's one that matches me from Jacqueline, I want to accept and do that one, then that's the way it'll work.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question actually, sort of about that. So let's say when you said, they get to create the character, does an actor have the opportunity to do the same side more than once and keep both on their profile? Or do they have to only do the one way and choose like, okay, that's the one that I'm presenting for that particular character?
They do not, yeah, they don't get to do it multiple times. You get to do it once because I want to simulate the real casting environment.
Right.
We had this morning someone ask a question. They said, hey, I was on Actor Bay, but it would only let me upload 1 tape. And, I did 3 different takes of it. And then I had my slate, and I wanted to upload all of those. Why'd Actor Bay just let me do 1? And from a casting perspective, I hate having to trug through. Find your best take and send that one. I don't want to have to watch 3, 4 of them and then go find your slate somewhere else to figure out who you are. And I say somewhere else, but it's when you're going through hundreds of these, it's not fun to have one person that submitted 3 or 4 different video files. You want the one, give me your best, be confident in it, and let's go. So self-tape now will be the same way. Pick your best interpretation. You get limited time in front of the casting people, do your best thing, put it out there, and let's go from there. So yes, it will just be 1 tape per side.
Good to know. Shalena, did I say that right? Sorry, I know you're laughing like, oh,
Yes,
there
you
she's
said it
going,
right.
trying it.
You made it. You made
Shalena,
it. Hello again, Jarod.
Hey, good to see you.
So as far as the scoring, I know you were saying that if someone sent in a self-tape 24 hours after they got their notice, or if someone sent it in maybe 2 days after, how much does the scoring affect a person, due to the fact that because there are legit reasons some people can't submit their self-tapes, like maybe they're on set or something, and so for the score to go down so much for actually doing something productive like acting on set, I wanted to know how much that would affect.
I would say it's meant to be the same amount as it affects in the casting process. So very infrequently does when someone submit their tape make the final decision. It's about the performance, right? Now, is it good when somebody says they're going to tape for something and you maybe are sitting there waiting and holding out the casting process and then they never turn their tape in? Now, I know life happens, things came up. So it's not like you're blacklisted, you're at the bottom of the barrel forever. But, you know, when you're talking about a percentage point here and there, the one that got it in quick and the one that neglected it completely, there will be a difference there. So, but the performance is what matters the most. So I would not, you know, it's good to get in early, but I would not say that that's going to be your downfall. Is that my tapes are always, you know, 5 days in, so I have a bad score. That wouldn't be the case. So it's a small percentage, but it does play a factor. I can say from a writer director standpoint, why does that matter? Usually the first tape that comes in is going to be the very first time I ever see that character come to life. And it can make an impression. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. I've had at least 5 emails this week of people who waited till the very last minute and they were on Central Time and they didn't realize our cutoff was Eastern Time. So they're uploading within the last hour after it had 7 days availability. And I'm just thinking, man, you know what an opportunity you had to be the very first person to bring that character to life. And yet you're waiting until the very end, you know, and they end up missing it. We let them in and that sort of thing. So, and I know what you said, everything is different. And it also is meant to be a pattern. Does someone have a pattern of being prompt, or does someone have a pattern of always being late at the very end? I also know some of the best actors out there can also be procrastinators and they can be busy. And so performance is king. It's like in real estate where they say, you know, the 3 most important factors are location, location, and location. So it's the same thing with acting. Performance, 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 even more so than your backdrop or your audio quality, whatever. It's that. But the speed does play a factor in that rating, but it's a small token percentage.
Cool. And one more question. As far as the self-tape now, I know you said that carries pretty much like the most weight when it comes to the score.
Yep.
Is there anything else second to that carries weight besides the self-tape now?
Ooh, getting into the algorithm. No, I can't talk about that out loud. I'll say I'll say another one, and this one may sound silly, but it really is a big factor. On Actor Bay, when you are engaged, when you do things, you earn tokens. They have no monetary value. You can't buy them. It's just giving you something for your efforts, for being involved, which I think is really neat. If you go on Facebook, X, Instagram, you can run around and click the like button all you want all over the place. And it really doesn't mean anything because it doesn't cost you anything, right? On Actor Bay, to do the equivalent of that, you have to use some of your tokens, right? So if you're going to, perhaps one example is when you watch these tapes, you have the ability to tip the person who did it with tokens. And so you're tipping some of tokens that you have earned because you're like, I voted for the other person, but you did so good. Here's 3 tokens, you know? And for the people who have been on the site as writers, they've said like, it's really cool when you get a little notice that you got tipped by somebody because they liked your script, you know? And so, and yes, you do get to see who gave you the tokens. So you get to see what person tipped you for what you did. And it has some value, but I'll say to get back, you said, what is the second most important factor? Everybody's profile has a tab called the fan club. And for someone to join your fan club, it costs them tokens, something that they have earned, something that is not given to them. So the actors that I see out there that have a larger fan club means that people feel so strongly in their abilities that they've spent some of their tokens to join these fan clubs. And I think that factor, again, performance is king, but the next one down there says a lot of people believe in this person. I think that deserves a little boost in their Actor Bay score.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Do the writers or actors get to see who rated them?
They do not. No, right now it does not show that because I want people to be able to be honest, and if it's your friend or whatever, then you won't. Now it will show, and I have this for our writers right now. I haven't made it public. Right now, the writers who are on the platform have been grading the scripts of others, so they will see a script. They can go in and give it 1 to 5 stars in a couple different categories, and that way it gives the writers, just like the actors, an A/B score of how strong of a writer they are. I do publicly show what type of score that writer typically gives out. So you can see some, oh, this person on average gives 2 stars to other people's scripts, you know? And then you'll see some that on average give out 4.5 stars. So maybe that holds a little accountability on what you're doing, and you can also take into consideration who it is. I think we should do the same thing for actors. If they are grading people's tapes or whatnot, just kind of see what average score they give out. Ideally, you'd want to be around, if it's 5 stars, you want to be around 3, that you land on an average somewhere in the middle. You're not too generous, but you're also not too harsh.
Mhm. Mark.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Earlier we talked about the links in Actor Bay. Are those always going to be able to be changed? Because like my demo reel today is not going to be my demo reel tomorrow. Can I always be able to change that?
Yep. Yeah. You can go into your profile, change your link if it goes to a new YouTube video or Vimeo. In the future, if the platform grows and is successful, maybe we'll allow people to upload it. Maybe for 20 tokens, you can upload your profile or your demo reel directly to Actor Bay instead of having it somewhere else. So yes, it is something that can be changed going on, as long as we never have a problem of people, linking to Rickroll videos or something that's inappropriate.
Bridget.
Hey, Jared. So you may have already said this, and forgive me if I missed it, but the 40 writers that you have are their size. Is that what you're using for the casting of Vindication, or is that a separate pool?
It's
Or are they
separate. So
fully-
the writers, what they submitted is for the self-tape now feature, which has not been fully launched yet. If you want to know honestly, it would be launched if I wasn't casting for Vindication. So I got really busy with that and had to put it on hold. But no, the casting for Vindication is our actual is sides from our episodes, and people have done that and their tapes won't go public. I did have the idea though, just a day or two ago, and this is just me talking out loud, but there are a couple roles on there that I'm like, man, I see like 5 people, they could all do it very well. What if I just put it out to the community and let them vote on who gets this, like who they thought did the best out of these? Because I can't decide. It's too hard. I see somebody's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. So I can't do that because I didn't get people's permission to do that. They didn't know what they were signing up for. But it's where I'm going, any of these 5 would do this role just fine. They're all good at it. How am I supposed to decide? Any, mini, money, mo? Wouldn't it be neat for the community to see which one they like? But can't do it, just talking out loud.
Thank you.
Yep.
Pray about it.
It sounds fun. Demetrius.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Thank you so much, Jared. This is a really, really neat concept. I had a question as far as, can you freeze your account? Let's say you're going on vacation or you have a shoot, in a foreign country and are not able to, or you're booked out. Would you be able to freeze your account for a period of time?
Well, since everything is triggered by your activity of a person on there, I mean, the only thing you would get is maybe you would get audition requests, like they would message you and say, hey, can you come audition for this? That would not ever hurt your score if you didn't respond to those. The only things that would hurt your score would be you submitting for something and then not following through, or you going in and clicking on a self-tape now tape and then never doing it or being delayed. So there's nothing that can be triggered by others if you were away that would ever hurt you. And honestly, the way this will be indexed by the search engine platforms, it may be to a point where when you search for your name, it comes up with an IMDb page and then an Actor Bay page is next. If people were disabling accounts off and on and things of that nature, other than permanently deleting, it could really mess up with that algorithm where Google would say, oh, don't send any links to Actor Bay because they have pages that go down all the time. If that's kind of a technical thing, but that's a reason for not doing it. So people could delete their accounts to go away. If you're not actively engaged because you're working on a shoot for 6 months or something like that, it would not hurt you. I know you had talked about, I mentioned that their activity on the site could affect their score, but if you're already got a good score, and you go stagnant for some months or whatever, you're going to talk, maybe a few fractions of a percentage, you might sink down, but you're not going to sink to the bottom through that time. But it's a good thought. I'll have to think about that and see if there is a reason or a time to do that.
No, if you're not accepting the audition, and that it seems like that goes on a timer, then it's like if you don't react, because you've accepted the submission, then that's going to affect your score. So that makes perfect sense. The other one more question is like, can you decide whether or not you want to make your audition public to the site, and that it can only be for the casting director or the director that's going to see it?
Yeah, so remember, there are two different types of auditions. There are those that are breakdowns for casting directors and for real roles. Those will never be public on the site.
Okay.
Those are private only for the people who are behind that project. Self-tape now, on the other hand, will always be public. That's what it is for, is to put out there for everyone to see. I will have the option that you can, after submitting a tape, after a period, if you don't want it to show up on your profile, you can take it off of there. You know, let's say you have one that you didn't score very well on and it wasn't your best performance, because you don't get to see the side before you accept it. You get to see who the writer is, you get to see the scene description, you get to see the character description, all of that information. But until you accept it, then you actually see the side. Well, what if you get it and like, I can't do this, this is way out of my wheelhouse? That may not be something that you want on your profile for years and years to come. So there will be an option to hide from my profile if there's something you don't want there. But it definitely is meant to be a public thing, you know, that you're getting into a public competition, so to speak, for this role and demonstrating your talents. To me, I would rather, if someone has a tape, I'd rather see something than nothing. Just a headshot and a name doesn't do a lot for me. I'd love to, even if they don't think it's their best take, I'd at least love to hear and see them doing something. So yeah, I hope that answers though.
No, it does. Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
thank you, everybody. God bless. I have to put my kids to bed. All my best, everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much, Jarod.
Thank you, Jarod.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, everybody.